Westfield Leader, advertised on January 5th, 2017. Notification was sent to the Star-Ledger and promptly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board and filed in the Office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public in time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231 of PL 1975. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Great to see you. A large audience this evening. I ask you to put your phones on vibrate and turn them off, please. At this time, it would be my extreme pleasure to suspend the regular order of business to swear in our new police chief of Garland. Chief Wright, step forward. Of course, everybody. Not everybody.
Raise your right hand.
He said left hand.
He said left.
Right hand down.
I,
Will state your full name.
James H. Wright,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and the governments established
and the governments established
in the United States,
in the United States,
in this state,
in this state,
and the authority of the people,
and the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will impartially and justly perform the duties of the office of the Chief of Police,
that I will impartially and justly perform the duties of the Chief of Police
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. Chief, would you like to say a few words? Because if you don't, I have to. That's the problem.
A few words. It's been a whirlwind already for this first 3 weeks, and it hasn't been disappointing at all. I've gotten a lot of feedback from the guys, a lot of support from the officers in the department, and we are all eager to get going, moving forward. A lot of community-related policing. That's what we intend to do in the future. So look for us. We're going to be out there a lot more, and you're going to see us all over the place. So we're going to get to know everybody again, just the way you used to.
That's it.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I noticed.
Yeah. Maybe he said that.
Okay, we'll continue on with our regular business. Mr. Renard, do you have a report for us this evening?
Mr. Moreno is still not well, so I just want to report on his behalf that the building projects are moving along. He plans that the current one will end and the next one will start. That one is just waiting for DOT approval, and both same contractor, so we'll swing right into it. But everything's, no problems to report.
Thank you, Ms. Ariel.
For the public, has resigned,
Yes, but not effective to July 1.
but not effective until July 1.
He's, as you know, he's recovered from it.
Yep.
Ms. Ariel, do you have anything else to report this evening?
Not for that one. I was
Okay.
reporting for the answer.
Okay. Mr. Renard, do you have a few words for us this evening?
Sure, Mayor.
Thank you.
I did review the bids on the DOT road project Midwest, which was the low bidder. Their bid was in order, so I think we've got a resolution on the agenda tonight to award that project. So assuming that you do, we'll be preparing the contract. I did appear on Thursday. You know, we had the fairness hearing on the affordable housing matter that took place on Thursday afternoon. It went well, successfully. The court listened to the evidence. We had Mike Mistretta from Harbor Consultants who testified, as well as Joe Hartman, our affordable housing planner. The special minister testified as well and presented our report to the court. The compliance hearing, I think I've told you what the steps are. The compliance hearing is scheduled for October 30th before Judge Cassidy. I want to say it's at 1:30. Let me just see if I wrote that down. Yeah, it's at 1:30 on the 30th. And by then, we'll need to have gotten everything together to implement the plan, including you'll be presented with a number of ordinances, plans, and so forth, which are all essentially in accordance with what you've already approved. So there shouldn't be anything startling or new, and as I said, everything should be in accordance with the plan. We are going to have everything having to do with the 490 South Avenue LLC properties, the north side and the south side of South Avenue, adopted within 120 days, which is 4 months, obviously, or thereabouts. Other than that, we're progressing on the affordable housing compliance front. I think that's all I have for you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Renard?
Yes. I was kind of disappointed that I didn't know that the township could have sent letters to the judge. I mean, is that quoted anywhere? I mean, how were we supposed to have known that?
What do you mean by the township could have sent?
Well,
letters?
because I read all the notes from the meeting. I couldn't make it there because I had appointments. But the township could have written letters to the judge with their dissenting factors as far as the development goes.
I'm not following what you mean by that.
If somebody is dissenter against what's going before the judge, you could write letters. They had to be in at a certain date.
Actually, if somebody was going to appear at the hearing, they were supposed to send notice to the court at least 10 days prior to the hearing. Those were the letters. I don't know that the court would consider letters,
But I
but
think the judge did say that. She said that if you wanted to speak at this hearing, that everybody could have written letters.
the judge said that, what the judge said was that if you wanted to appear at the hearing, you were required, in accordance with the notice that was published, to have sent a letter 10 days in advance of the hearing.
Okay, and let's suppose that we sent a proposal to the judge with the required COA requirements with 100 units. Would the judge have accepted that? Because all we're going by is the COA units, that's all you told us that was her main concern, was the COA units. So if we would have submitted a proposal for 150, 125, heck, anything less, the judge would have accepted that as long as the COA requirements were satisfied.
You have to have a plan which is compliant with what the affordable housing requirements are. So yes, if you submit a plan which contained a realistic potential for development, or an RDP, realistic development potential for the number of units that are required, is what the borough was required to submit.
Right.
And in our case, we were able to get a vacant land adjustment because currently at least, vacant developable land in order to meet that full requirement is not available in the borough.
But we could have submitted anything as long as the COA requirements were satisfied, correct?
I don't know what you mean by we could have submitted anything. You have to submit a constitutionally compliant plan that provides for the potential development of affordable housing units.
Right, well, that's what I just said.
Okay.
So if we would have submitted something that was 150 units, as long as the COA units were satisfied, the judge would have accepted that.
Yes, if you have a plan
Okay,
that
that's all
complies with
that's all I want to know.
the COA
It didn't
requirements.
have to be this amount. It could have been a lot less with the right amount of COA units.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
If I may follow up on this, Mayor. So if I'm understanding Councilwoman Kukrow correctly, what she's saying is if Garwood had a plan for putting 150 COA units in one location, that we would have enough.
No, that's not what I'm saying. The COA
Okay.
units had to be required, they had to be satisfied, correct? X amount of units.
Yes.
So if we submitted a plan, no matter the amount of market units, didn't really matter how much that was gonna be, as long as the COA units were satisfied according to the court.
Well, no. You can't just submit a plan and say, this is our, for example, you can't submit a plan and say, we're proposing 300 units, of which 150 are affordable. The court would not approve that.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay?
What I'm saying is, would it matter how many units we were building as long as the COA units were satisfied and our plan was being met?
Yes.
That's all I'm asking.
However, we have to look at
Well,
whether or not that's
maybe you didn't hear what I
realistic.
said. The answer was yes, it would matter, not yes, you could do it. I mean, yes, it
Right,
would
so
matter.
basically they're dictating the amount of market share units we have to build as compared to the COA.
That you have to plan for,
Right.
yes.
Well, if we're planning for 200 units, as long as the COA units are satisfied, then that's good, correct? The judge would have approved
No,
that.
no, you can't plan for 200 units because then you'd have a 33.33% affordable component, which is not something that the court would approve, no.
The whole point of the settlement, I'm just asking is, just to clarify, is so that way, obviously, that the court thinks that there is potential for us to actually fulfill the affordable housing. If there's no market rate apartments as a part of that actual building, then there's not going to actually be the ability to build the affordable housing because it wouldn't be financially feasible for a builder to come in and do that. Is that basically correct, right? That's why you have to have
There
market
are-
rate numbers
There are
attached to it.
specific ratios that you're not required to not go over or under, however you want to characterize it, but, so no. And to give you an example, I mean, theoretically, you could plan for one 156-unit building, but you can't do that unless you could show, for example, to court that you were going to fund the construction of a 156-unit, 100% affordable development. Similarly, it would be the same thing if you did, for example, 50%. You would have to demonstrate that to the court. The court accepts the kinds of ratios that are, the kind of ratios that are accepted, which is up to 15% with rentals and 20% with for sale units. You can't just make up a plan if it's not feasible. I mean, the special master in the court would approve of it.
They wouldn't approve of it. If somebody came in there and said, I want to build 150 units and my COA requirement is 20 or 15, the court would not approve that?
Somebody
Somebody came in, they didn't
Okay.
care about making money, they're doing a nonprofit.
So a nonprofit
It doesn't really
organization
matter.
comes in. Okay. A
So-
nonprofit corporation comes in and says, we're going to build 156 affordable housing
No,
units
no.
and we have the funding.
No.
Okay?
If you build 150 units and your COA requirement is, I believe it should have been 15, not 10. So would the court approve that? Does the court care about the amount of units you're building as opposed to the amount of COA units you're putting in there?
Yes,
That's what I'm asking.
because you're not building them. The municipality is not building any of these.
A private
units.
enterprise.
Well, if you had a developer, let's say you had a developer who came in and said, I will build 30% affordable units. Okay, if you had an actual developer with actual property, all right, not theoretical, an actual person who actually controlled actual property and had the financial wherewithal to construct this development and said, I will construct a development of 460-something units, of which 154 would be affordable. Yes, you could then show that you had an actual developer, you had an actual project, you had somebody willing to do it, and you were going to satisfy your affordable housing requirements with this one project. Yes, you could do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Bernard? Ms. Arietta, do you have something in addition?
I emailed you guys about students in government, but a couple of you didn't get back to me, so is May 16th, Tuesday, May 16th at 6:30, good for everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Yes?
Did I respond? That's what I
No.
responded.
You, this is a matter, just, it's fine, just let me know that's good, I can set it up?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, that's all I have.
Okay. Any unfinished business? Any new business? I have a couple of each. Just a reminder to the council that your financial disclosure form must be completed and submitted by April 30th, 2017. I am now announcing, due to personal commitment, I am rescheduling the Mayor's Saturday to May 13th from the 20th. I'm in receipt of a letter from Al Fael, the new county manager. He's asking that our municipal council adopt a resolution supporting the continuation of the CDBG program. The freeholders will be doing the same. President Trump's fiscal 2017 budget proposes to eliminate the program. And it also has sent an attachment that shows an actual resolution. And of course, as your representative of CDBG, I support that action, so I hope we can put that together.
You have my support, Mayor. That helps us
This
with,
does not have my support.
It absolutely does not have mine either.
it helps us with the number of senior programs and
Well,
handyman
that's the
programs.
point.
things
First of
that
all, I
nature,
did
so.
receive a sample resolution, I think from the Borough of Kenilworth, so you want me to put that on the next agenda? Okay, but just so you all understand, specifically you, that losing this funding, this is how we fund all our senior programs.
I don't
So then
believe,
We're gonna have to fund it through property tax or eliminate it, just so you know.
well, you know what, I mean, it depends on how much money is being paid for this one particular thing. I've read up on this, and every other town is getting buckets of money. Why? I would like to know how much we've gotten over the last 10 years
I
in this
have,
type
I
of
have
money.
a printout on that, but.
All right, that would be great.
Obviously, we don't get, we're not eligible for like a lot of things.
Well,
that other
I
towns
looked at it,
are.
and I have pages and pages of it, I looked at
And
it all
personally,
over the weekend.
Personally, I personally agree with you. I just want you to understand, because I know how important the senior programs are, to you, that the taxpayers are now gonna have to, in order to keep those programs running, they're gonna have to fund it with property tax, which, you know, I just wanted to make sure.
It's an increase to the
Or,
budget.
or eliminate. So, you know, I mean,
Okay.
I'm not trying to have.
Right.
I definitely support it as well.
I want to make sure, because I know how
Thank
you
you.
feel about that.
Right. Personally, I don't want to turn this into any kind of national political debate. I just feel as a representative of the people of Garwood that the senior programs are so important to our senior citizens, and this is the main mechanism of funding them, so I want to see that continue. So for that reason, I want to support this.
I'll just put it on the next agenda.
Thank
okay?
you. Moving on, comments or matters for discussion from the members of council. Councilwoman Blumenstock.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kukrow.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Lazaro.
No report.
Councilman Petrozelli.
No report, Mayor.
Councilman Sonic.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tedesco.
The buck stops here. I have a couple items, Mayor. One is about the Union County Infrastructure Grant. Last year was the first year that they put that in place, and we were able to take advantage of that.
Second year.
This one's the second year.
This is the dirt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
First one, we did sidewalks.
Oh, right, sorry. So this is the third year of their program, and last year we had done a portion of Center Street for that. So although I know I've spoken about how I have mixed feelings about matching grants, and personally I would rather a 75-25 split, understanding that municipalities putting some skin in the game makes some sense. I'd like to see us try for this money again. So if the council would support me in asking Ms. Ariema to draw up that application and send it to Union County for continuing the Center Street project, I'd really appreciate the support on that.
Yeah.
I would definitely support that.
Yes, you have my support as well.
I'm not sure about that yet.
And just for the sake of everyone in the public and on the council as well, if they're not sure, procedurally, how does this look? What do we
Yeah, so
apply
let me
for?
comment on that, so when I read the resolution for a vote, Councilman Cooper understands. So it's a grant application, it's a matching grant. And at this point in time, it's just an application. It doesn't, even if you got approved, later on, you could decide, forget it, we don't want to do it, you could decline the grant. This is just authorizing me to submit the grant and request the money. So if you get approval for the money, then you have to bond for the other half.
Do we get to vote on that before
Yeah.
we spend it?
You get to, tonight you're just gonna vote on me submitting the grant.
Okay.
So then, if you get the grant, then I'll come back to you and say, okay, you got this much money, you have to figure out how you're gonna fund the matching. And if you all say to me, forget it, we don't want to, I just write a letter and say, thanks, but no thanks. Or you prepare a bond ordinance, which you do vote on to read, and you match the grant, and then we proceed with the project.
All right, this doesn't lock me into the vote.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't lock you into anything, it just authorizes me to submit the grant on your behalf.
Okay.
You're not doing anything that, you
Okay.
know, says that, you know, once you get the award, you have to decline it. I'd have to write the letter saying, sorry, we changed.
And then we'll get to vote on that again.
You'll tell me, you guys will tell me,
Okay.
go forward or not, and, you know, if, of course, the majority says go forward, then I present something for voting, and, you know, a bond.
Council President, anything else?
I do just have one more item. So hopefully everybody was able to take a look at the 3 banners that were put up in the front here. This is something that, as liaison to the celebrations committee, I sort of spearheaded. The committee selected these 3 styles, and we've ordered them. They're in from the manufacturer, and we got a great deal on it. We shopped around, and we made sure we got good quality cloth banners that will last upwards of 10 years, like many of our banners have done so for us before. $85 a piece, and you know, one of the pieces of thinking going into it was about promoting Shop Local, so Shop Garwood, as you can see on the green banner there. And then also, last fall, there was a good deal of discussion about whether or not to paint a blue line in honor of police. Many other communities had done that, but then the federal government, through the Department of Transportation, came down on that and said it was really ill-advised because of the Uniform Manual on Traffic Safety, that the 2 yellow lines down the middle of the street should not have another color in between. And so it was my suggestion at that point that we investigate maybe putting up banners instead to honor our police department. Additionally, included on there, we're honoring our volunteer fire department and our volunteer first aid squad. So you'll hopefully see these banners up very soon. And I want to thank the Celebrations for Committee for helping me in that endeavor. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
They look great. They look really great.
Can I just comment one more thing on that grant? The amount that I'm gonna put in for is not really what we'll get, so it's a large number, so anyone can panic with that.
Well, I will panic. How much is the number?
Well, I'm saying it's a $425,000 project. I asked for half, same I did last year, but they only gave us 65. So that's what you'll probably get the same amount, and that's what you would be dealing with, not what I'm asking for. You never get what you're asking for.
Right. And what would the amount of the road be? We don't have that. Well,
Whatever they give us, we match it, and then we make like last year we did from Willow to Locust. So I'm asking to go to Locust to the end of the road, but I'm sure that would be, if they funded that, then you have to decide, we can turn it back or whatever.
Can we, I mean, I see that they're doing half the roads. Can't we do like a whole road, like what, block at a time? As opposed to splitting the street up?
The more money you want to spend, the more you
Well,
can
if you do one block as opposed to a longer section and then it's split up in half. By the time
I'm not sure I
that-
know what you mean, actually.
Well, she's going for the park, that's the end of the.
Right, the whole street, but some of the streets are doing only parts of the streets.
That's because of the pipes. That's
Right,
the
that's
water.
road labor.
Okay.
Something
That has something to
separate.
do.
Yeah.
Something different.
Were they doing that on Locust too?
Yes.
Just to be clear, when the town does roads, we do the whole road.
Right.
So, just to be very clear on
Yeah,
that.
because that's what I was concerned about. We're gonna have half
No,
the
no,
streets
no.
are done and then the rest are
No,
done. By the time that gets done, again,
You
the other
notice
one's
that part
done.
of Center Street that's real nice? From Willow to Locust, it's nice and smooth and
Yeah.
clean, that's what we did last year.
Okay,
So we would continue that.
okay.
As far down for as much money as they give us, which they, you know, they won't give us all the money, and then we'll just keep doing it in phases, so maybe it'll take 3 years, but then the whole road, or maybe 4 years, and then the whole road is done.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing, can we make an ordinance that when utility companies dig up the road, they actually do the whole road?
Sure, you guys can, wasn't licensed.
I mean, I would love to pass that through to the committee.
What
because-
committee is that on?
Wasn't licensed.
Sure.
Oh, that's us. Okay,
I'd
I'd be
be-
happy to do it.
Because you
I'd
know
be happy
what,
as
you
well.
look at West Street right now.
It's a
It should be
disaster.
the whole thing, and I think if we have the ordinance, I think it's gonna be great for the future.
I think other towns have that, you just gotta.
I think so. I thought Westfield has it.
I read it about Jersey City. Last year, I believe they put that in place. I brought it up
Yeah, you can do it.
here.
All right, we have to have a
So-
meeting then this week. We can do it
Okay.
anyway.
Sure.
Thanks,
Okay.
Mr. Sarno.
We'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, state your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'll wait till the end.
Is there anyone else besides Mr. Patterson? Seeing none, Mr. Patterson? We have Mr. Patterson.
There you go. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Al Del Conte, 545 Locust Avenue. A couple of meetings ago, it's probably about a month, I brought to everybody's attention the construction being done on Locust Avenue, the settlement in the road, curbs, the utility work on all the lawns. Can anybody give, Mr. Goriello isn't here, but can anybody give me any insight on what's been going on?
I did email the contact the next day, he said he would take care of it, and I guess obviously since you're standing there, he didn't, so I will email him again.
Well, half the road was milled and paved, which that was the half from the gas company. The other half of the road's gonna be milled and paved by the water company. The cemetery plots on everybody's front lawn were not attended to. They're just the way they were.
What do you mean by cemetery?
Cemetery.
It's all the utility, all the digging that they did.
Yeah.
I have 4 of them on my front lawn. I'm ready to put tombstones there.
Is that water company or is it a combination?
3 of them are the gas company, and 1 of them is the water company. And one's been like that for 2 years, if you remember me complaining about it 2 years ago. Nothing was done. With the curbs also. I was supposed to meet with Mr. Goriello, but that ended up being a no-show.
He's been ill.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But I'll follow up another email and try to find out more about what project.
How about the settlement in the middle of the road?
I'll email again.
Because now half of it has been milled and paved, so if they have to dig it up, they're gonna be digging up a new section of the road.
This time I'll ask for a timeline and explanation, not just I'll take care of it. Okay?
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. The council, Bruce Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue. And I'd like to bring up, in honor of Ann Leonard, that back on the Celebrations Committee about 15 years ago, we had that concept about the banners. And she actually went out and she got donations for the banners. And unfortunately, real go-getters like that, I guess, are far and few between these days. And now we're leaning more and more on the taxpayers to pay for banners. Unless, oh, you're out.
Ms.
Mr.
Carr,
Patterson, I'll speak to that.
You'll get a minute to speak.
Okay, but anyway, that's, hopefully, we're trying to get donations for it. We did it for those other banners that are now, I guess, worn out, because this is why we're looking at this. How many are there? 27, something like that?
There's 22 up right now, and then we ordered 15 of each of these, because the idea will be to have half that will be up, will be shop Garwood all year round, and the other half will rotate seasonally. And they'll rotate a bit more frequently than they have in the past.
Is there a first responders month? Like, what kind of month dedicated to first responders?
And I know there's police week, I'm sure there's, fire prevention week, but probably another fire week, so.
It'd be good to have like, set up some kind of ordinance for a month, but we can honor you, put these up for the month. Anyway, the CDBG, it's interesting because, I mean, the CDBG is involved in a lot of items. I mean, I don't know what they are, but if somebody could just run down a little laundry list of what CDBG monies go to. What did come out of that fairness hearing, I was there, and thank you very much for Representative Garwood, Bob. But anyway, there's CDBG monies actually being used to rehab rental units for COA units, right, Bob? That's what came out of it?
Yeah, well, owner-occupied 1- and 2-family residences are eligible for funding through the CDBG block grant. It's the Garwood Home Improvement Program. Actually, it's the County Home Improvement Program, but we advertise for Garwood residents. So yes.
Right. And if anybody could just kind of run down the laundry list of what we use the CDBG monies for, that would.
I think Tina said she was gonna get it to me.
I do have a list of things that we apply for, what we've been funded, but what Garwood pays, programs are run by Community Development. It's the Senior Citizen Bus Driver Transportation Program. It pays for the bus driver salary, but not all of it. The rest is funded through taxpayers up to the current budget. It also funds the handyman program, that's repairs to senior houses that meet the criteria. That is pretty much 100% funded. We don't really take in any money for that. And it also funds all other programs run by the Senior Citizen Director. That's like the Zumba and crafts and everything that is run by Paulette. I'd say that 75% is funded with the grant. Each borough funds about 25% of it through property taxes. And that's all that Garwood's really ever steadily got from that. We applied for other things, but like redevelopment money, but we got denied. And several years ago, we applied for handicap ramps, and we did that. We did some handicap ramping at the firehouse. We did the handicap doors here at this building. We thought about everything, because you can apply for handicap stuff. So over the years, we thought about everything that we could possibly think of. We put a handicap door in the firehouse. But
Didn't we get redevelopment money a few years ago for Kennedy Plaza?
we did many, many years ago. More than a few, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
That was yesterday, right?
But, yeah, when I tried to get redevelopment money 3 times in a row, it denied me. So, Borough doesn't qualify for a lot of other things, but they do fund road projects and, several other things, but you have to meet the criteria. There has to be enough slum and blight and that kind of thing. The town of Garwood just doesn't meet the criteria. We almost met it on one road once, but then the dynamics changed and we got kicked out.
All right, but it is an impressive list, and it seems like it's very
Well, we do run a lot of
important.
programs with the money, and it would be an impact to the taxpayers to keep those programs running, and it would be an impact to the seniors to lose those programs.
All right, I guess on the federal level, it's under attack, but I do appreciate if the council will come together in consensus and support the CDBG. Just one last thing. You know me and matching grants, I'm always yelling about it. But anyway, the infrastructure grant, it's for infrastructure. The council voted this, I said, 75-25, that's great. But I don't mind matching grants as long as there's money that we're actually putting towards something already, and then that'd always be great that we have money there already, and not that we have to come up with the money and, stress the taxpayers further. And I know we turned down already like 2 various grants, maybe 3. But anyway, as long as we have the money and we're heading towards a direction, I don't see that, not turning down grants. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, if I could just quickly comment on the banners. So the Celebrations Committee did discuss having different businesses and say individuals sponsor each banner. But what we found was from the company that it would cost almost as much as the banner itself, the main banner, in order to add a second one for the sponsor. And of course, as Mr. Patterson pointed out, there is a lot of work involved in soliciting those donations, which I do for many other organizations, so I have no qualms about that. And Annie Leonard, I know, has dedicated many, many years of service to this town, and I definitely thank her for all she's done. However, the banners were paid in part, about half, from the donation by the Chamber of Commerce through Garwood Rocks. If you remember the past few years, Garwood Rocks would come in, Carol Carney, our business and industry liaison, would present us with a check for $1,000 from Garwood Rocks, so that will be used for these banners. So donations will be helping out tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to adjournment. Got a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll just continue on. All rise for a moment of silence to salute to the flag, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice of this meeting is provided to Westfield Leader advertised on January 5th, 2017. Notification was sent to the Star Register and promptly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board, filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public upon the place, according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Just a reminder, please put your phones on vibrate or shut them off, please. Roll call, Ms. Ariane.
Mayor Lombardo.
Here.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Here. Councilwoman Kukrow.
Here.
Councilman Lazaro.
Here.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Here.
Councilman Sarno.
Here.
Council President Tedisco.
Here.
Do I have a motion to suspend the regular order of business to hold a public hearing on the 2017 municipal budget as advertised in the Westfield Leader?
So move, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
List of correspondence received concerning 2017 municipal budget, Ms. Ariane.
None, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to be heard concerning 2017 municipal budget? Seeing none, motion.
No, I don't. Nobody else wants to speak about the budget? Everybody's happy? All right. Those of you can go out and get a cup of coffee if you want.
A few minutes, Mr. Patterson.
How many minutes?
A few.
The public is interested in certain issues.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council.
Patterson, welcome.
Bruce Patterson, 335 Royal Avenue. You know, I do appreciate this user-friendly budget format that came out, what, about 2-3 years ago? It's user-friendly. It does, you know, takes a lot of the scrutinizing away from the regular budget, which is also handed out here. But just some questions on the regular budget. Sheet 3D. That's the caps calculation.
What?
Not in the user friendly, that was on the regular.
This is a regular one, the regular one. Yeah, I'll get to the user-friendly in a moment.
Which one was it?
Page 3D.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the caps calculation, and so you know me, I'll be speaking about the caps later on also. But at this point, we're looking at total on the very top line, 5959, you know, 5,959,000. And then near the bottom it says maximum allowable amount to be raised by taxation, and it's 6,225,000. If you take that 6,225,000 divided by 5959, you're talking about a possible increase of 4.5%, and you would still be allowed to be under cap. You know, that's just something I can't get my head around, especially with that 2% cap that Christie put in. So you know, it's just a comment that you wonder about this 2% cap when you could still increase taxes by 4.5%. Plus, on top of that is the cap money that's banked. There's $343,000 of that. That's, you know, everything is scary. You just wonder about all this stuff. Let's see. This is the regular budget again. Sheet 11. Section B, state aid without offsetting appropriation. That's a guaranteed number, because I know the state always is finagling and you're never sure about the money. $490,000, 186. Is that guaranteed state?
That's just the regular stated.
Yeah, but it's guaranteed.
That's guaranteed.
Okay. Under that little section, total miscellaneous revenues. Realized in cash in 2016, that's the right-hand column. It says 1,149,000. Then it says anticipated in 2017, and that's $957,000. Why the big drop? Is that something that we should be concerned with?
It's the grants there, Bruce. See the grants, see the line above it?
Okay,
It says 187, 775.
right.
Then to the right says 283. In other words, as the year progresses, you amend the budget for the grants, so we got a lot more grants at that point in time
Oh, okay.
than we do now. So the grants, they'll increase before the end of the year.
Yeah, going through the year.
Going through the year.
Okay, that's good. The same page, 6A, local tax, including reserve for uncollected taxes. That from 2016 to 2017 went from 5959 to 6,083,000, and that's an increase of $124,000. This is obviously the taxpayers are going to foot the bill. I calculated it comes out to be 2.1%. I thought somehow the numbers were coming out to be under 2%. Why 2.1%? What happened since the hearing? I thought you were at like 1.9.
No, 2.08%.
Again, so much for that 2% cap. Sheet 30. Yeah, sheet 30, just for information. The reserve column, which is the far right-hand column, 572,535. This, I would assume, is the encumbered monies that are gonna be paying for whatever's left over from last year.
From 16, that's going to be paid in 17, yes.
All right. That ratio of 572,000, I divided by 7,996, which is on the left-hand side for 2017. That equals about 7.2%. Is that a rule of thumb, like, you know, reserve monies usually run around?
It depends what you spend at your end. It just varies from year to year. There's no rule of that.
There isn't. Sheet 32. Yeah, sheet 32 is about the surplus. On the bottom right-hand corner, the surplus balance, December 31st, 2016, $537,000. If you go straight up from there to the very top number, it says surplus balance January 1st of 2016, you're talking $707,000. So it looks like our surplus went from 770 down to 537. So somehow we lost about $170,000.
Well, you use it in the budget.
All right, okay. But I mean, it's slow, it seems like there's an attrition to that. Because the year before, we don't have the numbers really, but I was looking at the year before and it looked like about $157,000 of attrition. So it appears our surplus is slowly decreasing. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it went down, yeah, absolutely. But you use more than last year's budget, that's all.
All right, the friendly, user-friendly budget. On sheet UFB 1, on the left-hand side, the taxable valuation, October 1st, 2016, is $186,738,000. I guess that's our ratables. That was probably the county number, derated by around 28%. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yes. What is, on the right-hand side in the middle, RUT?
Warren, is it or not?
Excuse me?
Is it or not?
Is it what?
Is that a correct statement? Yes, it is.
No, the 186, that's your tax base.
Yeah, but is that the county equalized?
No, it's not the equalized base, no.
Derated by 28%?
No, no, that's nothing to do.
Reserve on the right-hand side in the middle, it says reserve for uncollected taxes, RUT, $439,000. What exactly is that? What is that?
It's required by state budget law, Bruce, in other words, you don't collect all your taxes all at one time. You collect, say, 98%, 97.5%. So to collect 100%, you're forced to artificially raise the taxes to collect 100%. So in other words, to collect $1, you got to bill $1.02. So you apply the 97% or 98% to $1.02, you collect 100%. So it forces you to raise enough cash to pay the school, county, and local.
You can usually, that right below that, it says 97.55. You can tweak that number, right? Normally.
Yes, but only up to what you collect as a priority.
Oh, okay. Page UFB 2. Line, FCOA, whatever that is, 15, the number is. It says receipts from delinquent taxes. And total, there's a prior year, total realized revenue was 238. And total anticipated revenue was 375. That's a large increase, $136,000. Does this go back to that previous item, the 439 reserve for uncollected taxes?
No, that's just the delinquent tax for December 31st, 16.
That's a good sign or it's a bad sign?
Well, no, I think Westwood didn't pay their taxes until next year.
Oh, it's just, okay. Just a couple more questions. UFB Yeah, UFB 5. Near the bottom end, multiple dwelling exemption, $35,000. I would assume that's the income from St. Anne's. That mentions the same number on the next page. That's our senior citizens housing over there with St. Anne's, right? 35. So that's all we're giving is $35,000 out of the deal.
Now we got a wonderful facility.
Helps with the affordable housing mandate as well.
All right. Will that number ever increase? I know it's a pilot.
Based on rents collected, we get foreshadowed, some of the rents were go up.
I didn't hear what you, I didn't know.
So it's based on rents collected?
Don't forget that's HUD money that built that also.
All right, above that, there's an amount paid out by municipality for tax appeals in 2016, $22,800, $22,800. Is that ShopRite money that we're giving them? It was in the consent agenda not too long ago.
I don't remember, 2016, probably not. I'm trying to think of what 2016 was. I can't remember off the top of my head.
All right, I don't want to, I don't want to press it. It was just, I was wondering if that was the ShopRite.
Make it press all you want, but I'll either remember it or I won't.
Further up, equalized valuation, taxable property, $666 million. Now, is that the county number?
That's the county.
And the average ratio, right above that, assessed to true value. That's the 28% that our CFO was talking about. We don't need assessment because of 28% up or down.
That was your tax assessed or not?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were in the 30s, no? It was- no?
Not as long as I can recall, so it's been almost 30.
Sheet UFB 7. I just have to comment on this. The top line, governing body, health benefits, there's $32,701. Now, that's for one council person, and the council person is stepping down, and it's closing a sad chapter that this person actually, over the course of his tenure, took about $220,000 out of taxpayers' pocket when we pleaded with him, not to. It's all legit, but I mean, it's a sad chapter. At least it'll end. Page UF8, UFB8, which is just talking about health benefits, and I think I asked Councilwoman Tedesco about this, but these numbers, they change because the people in different levels of health benefits change, so you just can't compare one number to the next number. What was the increase in the health costs, basically?
This year, I think the state average was 2.4%.
Yeah, in other words, that's the state, that's the New Jersey.
Yeah, state health benefits.
Oh, yeah, accumulated absence liability. We just went through the retirement of Chief Underhill. I just wondered, how did we handle that $60,000? We borrowed, or was it banked?
Are we allowed to discuss that?
We did not have to borrow it, we were able to set aside funds and cover that retirement.
The reason why Mayor Lombardo brought it up is because it's in negotiation still, is that what it is?
What?
The payment of the funds,
No.
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 And that's not something we should talk about.
it was paid.
You asked a question, I think the CFO answered it.
Would you answer that? Would you answer that again?
Your question as to whether the money was borrowed, it was not. We had funds in reserve.
I'm looking at page UFB-10. This is our debt page, talk about our debt. I see a total for the local school debt, but there actually is no total for the municipal purposes. This is on the left-hand side. So it comes out to about $3,715,000. It's on the total on the bottom there, okay. Just one question, loan and other debt, $522,000. What is that?
That's the Green Acres loan to AFC.
Oh, you say we have to pay that back?
Yeah, we have a maturity schedule.
I did hear that it was really low. I thought it was going to cover the rec complex and no loss of sleep. Okay. Well, I guess.
Thank you.
Hang on, one minute.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Okay. Thank you very much. Everybody can wake up.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on. Do you have a motion to adopt resolution?
No, we gotta close the
We have
public
closed
hearing.
public session. I'll make a motion to
Make a
close the
motion
public
to
session.
close the public hearing on 2017 municipal budget.
I'll second that motion.
Do I have a second?
I seconded Councilman Sarno's motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, we have a motion to adopt resolution 17-093 for the 2017 municipal budget.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor,
Not early.
I want to thank Council President Tedisco. She worked really hard on this budget. I thought long and hard about it, and basically what it boils down for me is, I really don't like the way the budget's done. I mean, basically, it's just a matter of adding on to the previous year's budget, subtracting and adding a few things. I think if we started out maybe flat, maybe we could do a little bit better on that. Also, I agreed this past year to fund the garbage truck, because I really feel like our town needs it. But that was up against 2 employees, which I'm not going to speak about. But I felt that those 2 employees would have really, I think we could have gone up to about $100,000. And I asked the council president, what would it take to get our taxes to 0? She said about $140,000, $150,000. I figured that would have brought it up there. I just want to see 1 year of no tax increase for the people of this town. I mean, they've gone up for 15 years, 15, and we built more in this town than any other time. I mean, 15 years, we've got strip mall, we've got Home Depot, we've got ShopRite, we've got everything, and our taxes continue to go up every year. I hazard to guess what's going to happen when the redevelopment's done. So I will not be supporting this budget this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add is, in terms of not supporting the budget, the number one reason that I'm not supporting it is because of a revaluation. This is something that the state has identified Garland with as being one of the 30 worst towns in the state in terms of not doing a revaluation. For all those that are in the audience that don't know, that's 1985. We have not done one. It is coming. The state will do it. The state will come whenever in the next short period of time, whether it's a couple years or not, and ask us and demand us to do it. Are we going to wait until that time? I don't think we should, and that is why it is also something that it's a fair process. We shouldn't be indexing everything off of what was done in 1985 and using a 28% equalizer ratio, if that's even the correct terminology. And I think that's the number one reason. And going forward, in terms of our planning, I'd like to work with the Finance Committee going in future years to really outline our capital costs. Not just equipment, it's everything. Roads, parks, and different things that we have to address in this town. I want to see us actually plan this whole thing out. That's what companies do. I'd like to see us run like a business in a way. And you know what? I know if we come together, we can get to that point. And also, a budget's not something that, even though there was a lot of hard work that got put into putting all these documents together, this is something that's a 12-month period. You look at budgets from any company level to a town level, okay? This is something that is going on and ongoing. So just after this vote, it continues again to the next fiscal year. I just want to keep that in mind for anybody else. Okay?
Well, as the finance chair, I can't help but say a few words. So I know I've spoken on the budget a number of times. Many in the audience have been at those special budget meetings, and I thank you for your continued attention to such an important piece of what the council needs to do to make sure that Garwood functions and the services continue to be provided that you very much deserve. Councilwoman Kukrow, I want to thank you for your kind words. You know, people say I sleep with the budget under my pillow. That's not quite true, but might as well be. So it's you know, obviously vital to how our borough operates, and I take my job as finance chair very seriously. But you know, I would have to say, I would like to take it a step further from what you said about like to see 1 year where there's no tax increase. I'd like to see that way more than once. And it really is something that is a priority of mine, and I believe, like Councilman Sarno said, the budget really is a 12-month process, and we as a council should always continue to work together and investigate ways of saving money. This year, had it not been for the fact that we did not regenerate the surplus as we had been in previous years, although I like to call it fund balance, it's the proper term, we were short $150,000. Let's say we weren't. Let's say that money was regenerated, we would have a zero this year. So in that sense, we were on the right track. It was circumstantial. Sometimes with the budget, it does come to timing, and how certain towns sometimes will get a zero. Could be, again, things lining up, but I'm always happy to discuss different budget strategies and plans. I know as far as the capital plan, I would agree with you. As finance chair, this year I had asked every department head to submit a 5-year capital plan. The DPW superintendent, Clint Dixon, has done that every year since he joined the team, and he gave that without being asked. It kind of opened my eyes to, hey, why don't we just get a 3-year plan? Why not have a 5-year plan? So I think a 5-year plan is absolutely a great thing for us to have for planning purposes from department heads. And also, I know the Buildings and Grounds Committee this year has taken a more active role, and we're planning for parks. So that's really important, and you know, I hope all those different strategies, you know, continue to be put in place and to be worked on, so we can keep doing the best job we can for the taxpayer. So I just wanted to say that. Oh, I did have something else on revaluation. Sorry, I almost forgot. While I do respect your opinion, Councilman Sarno, on revaluation, obviously it has been a very long time since the borough has been reassessed. This has been something that we've obviously spoken about with our tax assessor year after year for at least the past 3 years, maybe 4. She's come and presented, and you know, she has said there's no advantage of doing a revaluation before the state mandates us to. But furthermore, the first step is to get our tax maps in order. And she said anyway, with the fact that there's only several companies in the state of New Jersey that do revaluations, Garwood would be looking at 2 years out anyway. And then if you do redo your tax maps, they're really only good for 2 years. So you want to time that appropriately so you're not wasting taxpayer dollars to get tax maps updated that then become invalid by the time you're looking for that revaluation company to come in. So I really don't see the connection between voting yes or no on a budget and revaluation, although I believe revaluation is an important issue. We should keep investigating it. I just don't see it actually impacting the 2017 budget. And if it did, meaning did we fund for it, if we were to have funded for it this year, that would have been a tax increase on that line item. Also, it could put us in a situation where we'd be revamping tax maps and out of date.
It's going to happen anyway. You have to plan for these kind of things. So when it comes down 2 years down the road, you're going to just say, oh, we just got a revaluation. Sorry for the tax increase. No, that's poor planning. And I think this is something we have to do. Even if you get the ball rolling now, you can't just wait 2 years from now and say, oh, the tax maps, oh, the assessor. We have to take initiative as a council. We have to take initiative with our capital plans. We have to come up with a wish list ourselves and take the needs of each department. It's not as, we can always just rely on, oh, well, that's what was said. No, we have to take our own initiative and look at what's been done. There hasn't been a revaluation since you've been alive. Think about that. That's crazy.
With all due respect,
One at a time, please.
with all due respect, Councilman Sarno, I mean, not to say I don't disagree with the fact that, you know, we do need to consider this the reevaluation, but this information would have certainly been helpful to be a part of the actual finance committee meetings that we were at. We had about 6 or 7 finance committee meetings, of which I know that you had other work obligations, and I understand that, but that's a commitment that you could have been a part of, and you could have brought that to our attention. You could have brought to our attention the other things that you mentioned about capital plan. That's kind of something that,
You want to talk about scheduling? I asked to do this on a Saturday. Would you guys say? No. I told you how busy my schedule was and what it may be. Now we're going to go down this road? Really? Because I could have been at 7 o'clock?
I'm just
It's a
saying.
disgrace.
It's not a disgrace at all. We had 6 meetings, we
You know what?
accommodated
Not
you.
everyone's a public teacher and gets off at 3, 4 o'clock.
We
I'm
asked
sorry.
you, we had meetings at 6 o'clock.
I really don't think there's any need to take jabs at what people do for their livings, whether in the private sector or in the public sector. We both obviously contribute to the economy, and this is our livelihoods, whatever we choose to do. But I will say, the Finance Committee was accommodating. We used to have meetings at 4:30 in the afternoon. We've made them 6 p.m. last year for you, Councilman Sarno, 7 p.m. this year for you. I'm happy about that. It's not a problem. And you know, I'm available to you. Whenever you need to bend my ear about another issue, you know my number. And, you know, I hope moving forward that we can, if it means meeting on a weekend, that's fine. That particular instance you're talking about, asking if we can meet on a Saturday, just happened that the 2 of us could not. Sometimes coordinating with 3 people can be challenging, especially if you throw in that we need meetings with our audit staff, our business administrator, and our CFO, so we really do the best we can. But phone, email always works. Some of the topics that are brought up tonight, I'd like to say I'm a little surprised by, but actually somebody sent me a social media snapshot, so I ended up learning more about your views of what you really care about thanks to social media than us on the finance committee. So I hope we could just, I hope we could just put it all behind us.
Social media?
I hope we could just put it behind us and move forward, because I know we've worked well together in the past, and I truly hope we can move forward in that way. And I know all the other committees are working hard too, like Buildings and Grounds, trying to be as proactive as we can on issues like parks, so that we are well planned. And that's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
I have to say something.
Yes.
I've never been on the finance, praise the Lord, thank you. But I mean, as far as the reval, I personally don't believe that there's any reason. We're not getting penalized for not doing it right now. I don't see any reason we have to do it. I mean, until we're mandated to do it. It's gonna cost us money. If we have to set aside money for the tax maps or whatever, I have no problem with that. It's not gonna be cheap to do. It's not, and there is no penalty for not doing it. So when they mandate us to do it, like every other town, then I feel we can do it. And I have no problem with that. That's not the reason I'm not voting for the budget, but I just figured I'd share that.
I'm sorry, I do have one more. As far as planning for revaluation, I know it's been brought to my attention, hey, maybe we start putting 10, 20, however many $1,000s in the budget each year to save up for that day when it comes, which obviously it will, looking at other towns getting mandated, including Westfield right next door. However, in speaking with our auditor, Warren Krecky, he brought to my attention that you really can't do that, and if you'd like to add to that, Warren, feel free. Basically, the only way we could plan for it and fund it would be to do a 5-year special emergency appropriation. So once we say, yes, we're ready to do the reval, then the planning is spreading that cost out over 5 years. So it won't be hitting the taxpayers with $200,000 for a revaluation in 1 year.
Right, that's the mechanism.
But we cannot just stash away, say, 10, 15,000 in cash.
It's just not allowed.
Okay. Any final comments?
I'd like to speak, Mayor. I mean, Councilman Sarno, all of these, your revaluation reason for not passing the budget, I think all of these things that are being said as to why we can't do it at this point and why we can't start saving, that was all said. So at the previous hearing, at the previous budget meeting, so to use that as your reasoning for not passing the budget,
It's
it
one of
just
the reasons.
doesn't ring true.
One of the reasons. And
Regardless.
you can stay behind who you want. That's the point. It's up
Well-
to us.
Regardless, I don't think anybody's shocked to hear that you, Councilwoman Cooper, or you, Councilman Sarno, is going to vote no to the budget. I'm sure the headline tomorrow will be, you know, we spend and you tried to save the taxpayers their money and we didn't do it. But I just find it very irresponsible after we've gone through line by line and we sat there and we went through it, and most line items were unanimous, and we did compromise on a few things. And, you know, there was even some line items that I didn't agree with, that I thought should be lower. And we actually agreed on a few of those, Councilwoman Kukrow. But because I didn't like a particular line item, to throw the whole budget and say, I'm not going to vote for it, I think you're able to do that and say no and not have any qualms about it, because you know the rest of us will be responsible and put through the budget. It's a tactic.
Councilwoman, that's
I
not
want
right.
to,
I'm
I
sorry.
would like to finish.
Can
I would like to finish.
about 2 seconds, and
I
I'll
would
call
like
for the
to
vote,
finish.
this gets out of hand.
We're
I
not
just
sitting
feel
here
that it's
insulting
a
each other,
tactic.
Councilwoman.
Everybody else has had their say, I just want to get my say out there.
We're not insulting other council people.
I'm talking very respectfully.
Irresponsible.
I just
Something
think-
I've been doing for 12 months with all the different votes, something I just talked about, you're gonna just go back and say,
I'd like
because
to
I didn't
finish.
vote on one line item?
I'd like to
Silly.
finish.
Just vote on
I'd
it
like to
already.
finish. I just think this is a tactic that's been done before. And I think, I certainly see through it, and I think other people do. That's what I have to say.
Okay, Ms. Ariano, roll call,
I
please.
actually do have a comment,
Sorry, go ahead.
and mine is more of a question. What if this budget didn't pass? What are the ramifications of that? What happens if it doesn't pass?
Well, you start to run out of money. In other words, you have your May tax bills are already out. February, May tax bills are out. So in another week, people start paying their May 1st taxes, but you won't have any tax bills for August or November. So eventually, you start to run out of money. At that point in time, you'll have to do tax anticipation notes to fund the operations. If you still don't do anything, the state will come in and just say, here's your tax levy for the year, and they'll just hire you. They won't do anything with the budget, they'll just set the taxes, and then you have to live within that constraint. That's it. The state has the authority to set your tax levy. But you'll start to run out of money, because you won't have any tax bills coming in August 1st or November 1st.
So by setting the taxes, they would go through the budget that we tried to propose that didn't pass.
They won't go through the budget, they'll just look at the tax number, and they'll either increase it or decrease. I've seen it done once in Plainfield, they actually increased it. They don't go through the budget, they just look at the tax number, they increased it to 4%, they said, here's your levy, certified to the county, and the bills went out based on that levy. And they said, you just spend the money the way you want, they're not concerned with it.
So no matter what, it would happen?
Yeah, it would happen no matter what.
So we would just gift away our control, our local control to the state?
Yeah, well, that's what that can do.
You can have a special meeting too.
Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kukrow.
No.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petroselli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
No.
And Council President Tedesco.
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes, Ms. Ariano.
Regular workshop of the mayor and council held on April 11, 2017. Special meeting minutes of the mayor and council held on April 18, 2017.
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So move, Mayor? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Communications, Ms. Ariano.
The New Jersey State League of Municipalities Mayor's Advisory,
Receive and file.
the City of Norway Resolution,
Receive and file.
Township of Cranford Ordinance,
Receive and file.
Rory Valley Sewer Authority Minutes,
Receive and
and
file.
Rory Valley Sewer Authority bonding information.
Receive and file. Ordinances. Public hearing on ordinance 17-05 advertised in the Westfield Leader. Ms. Ariano, please read ordinance 17-05 by title only.
Ordinance 1705, calendar year 2017, ordinance to establish a cat bank.
Do you have any correspondence on 1705?
None, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 17-05?
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, over Bruce Powers, 335 Willow Avenue. You know, I stand up here and I speak every year about the cat bank. One year, actually, you voted no, and it was very commendable on that, to show leadership. Because, I mean, we went over, and yes, the surpluses cut back a little bit, but the cat bank is allowing you to go over a mandated 2% cap. And that is put into place for you to be leaders and to keep the budget appropriately below that cap. I'm just going to read, let's see, it was an opinion piece from the South Jersey Times editorial board, just part of it I'm going to read, but it says, so where's the incentive for the state's 564 municipalities and 601 school districts to stay under the cap repeatedly if every so often they can spend like a proverbial drunken sailor? This wrinkle in the law makes a mockery of the hard cap, which already has numerous exemptions, which you all know is outside of the cap, pensions, etc. More built-in excuses for topping 2% than a lazy student has for avoiding homework. Healthcare costs going up, no problem, pass it on to the taxpayers. Lawmakers, notably Senate President Stephen Sweeney as well as Christie, need to close down the bank or at least stop giving taxing entities dollar-for-dollar credit to spend later what they save now. How about limiting the spendable amount to 25% of what's saved? So you have the capacity to vote no. You've done it once before. Maybe the makeup of this council was not the same. You know, there are previous council people here, but they stood up and they said, no, you do not need it. You know, for maybe significant loss of revenue coming, but we don't see that. But I see no reason why you should vote in the cap bank. I think this time, stand up again, vote no. Unless you come, I know you'll have a reason, by the way, because of the talk. But anyway, but at this point, and to tell you the truth, what I just saw with the back and forth with this council was embarrassing. I don't think, you know, Councilwoman Bloomstock said, we see through you, Joe Sarno. That's not true. I've been coming to these meetings, I've been following the budget. You know, I ask so many minute questions, you know, it puts everybody to sleep. But Joe Sarno is speaking true about the budget and how it should be done, and Councilwoman Kukuro mentioned about starting from the beginning, and actually Joe Sarno mentioned that last year. Start from the bottom and work your way up. That would be a laborious effort. But to tell you the truth, they do care about it. It's not some political ploy, just voting no. So, I mean, you were wrong in what you're saying where you see through it. Because I'll tell you, if anybody sees, you know, I can see through a lot of things, and that wasn't one of them. And you know that I'm very perceptive. I've been following the governments on all levels. So whatever happened here, the back and forth was embarrassing. I wish Mayor Lombardo gavelled a little harder to stop it, because it was just wrong. But I digress. Back to the cap bank. I would like to see some leadership here. So vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Jim Matthew, 335 Hazel Avenue. Yeah, I would like to also add, please vote no on the cap bank. There were 2 years that we voted no. We came together as a bipartisan members of the council. Mayor Petrocchi broke the tie each time. My plea is actually focused on the 2 newest council members, Blumenstock and Lazaro. It would be refreshing to see if you truly are bound by your party or you're independent enough to go ahead and vote no. This has nothing to do with the 2% tax cap, by the way. This has to do with the 1977 cap. It's a spending cap. It is a slush fund. It is illegitimate. Please vote no against it. And to our newest Democrat members, please, let's see if you live up to your rhetoric. I wasn't going to speak on this, but I guess Bruce Patterson opened the door. Councilwoman Blumenstock, what you said was disgraceful and completely uncivil. Also, Councilman Lazaro, very uncivil. I give kudos to you, Councilwoman Kukuro, and you, Councilman Sarno. Your votes are irresponsible. Their votes are responsible. They're doing the heavy lifting. They're right, you're wrong. You got to vote for their tax increases and their spending increases. Councilwoman Blumenstock, if you don't know that he's been talking about reevaluation, you haven't been paying attention for a couple of years. You too, Councilman Lazaro, you should both be ashamed of yourselves, and you're not being very civil. And the final thing I want to say is I just want to make an observation on this budget. I think this is about the 3rd or 4th year in a row now. Garwood's employees have kept our healthcare expenses from exceeding $1 million. Your average Garwood employee pays 15% of their healthcare premiums. You have a councilman sitting up there tonight who is paying 3% of his healthcare premiums, and that's only because salaries have been taken away. It is a disgrace. This tax increase is low because of the Garwood employees. and they deserve our thanks. And anyone else who's not paying their fair share should be ashamed of themselves. Thank you.
Mike Martin, 300 North Avenue.
Mr. Martin, to
Over
the
there.
dais, please.
Yeah.
Over there.
I can take care of that, thank you.
You would think I would know better than that.
We understand.
Mr. Matthew, I find it incredible
Mayor, is this an address to me, or is it to you, Mayor?
that we would
Yeah.
have a former council person, such as Mr. Matthew, charging another council person with being disrespectful after his disgraceful record.
Oh, my God.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Okay, so we won't go
At least
there.
he didn't sleep on the day yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyone else at this time? Motion please be made to close the public hearing on ordinance 17-05.
So move, Mayor?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion and second to adopt ordinance 17-05.
So move, Mayor?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
I just would like to say that my vote on this issue has absolutely nothing to do with my party. I don't really know how that comes into play here, but I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I didn't support it when it was introduced. I don't believe we should be giving government more money just to keep it a slush fund, and that's from my opinion. I don't vote according to party, as the other party does. No, I vote across party lines, and I don't believe in taking taxpayer dollars or allocating it for us to use whenever we want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just a couple quick comments. One is, although it seems like it's enabling the council or to raise additional taxes in a very shady way or something like that, it's not the case. It hasn't been used since I've been up here on council. I can't speak to previous years off the top of my head, but we haven't used it. Basically, the state is a little bit wacky with how it handles things like 2% caps, because it says it's a 2% cap, but then it's not really. Then there's the spending cap versus the appropriations cap. So basically, or I'm sorry, the levy cap. That's okay, Mayor. If I may continue, Mayor?
Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to say, yes, this is really not a partisan issue. I've asked auditors time and time again. They represent and work with many municipalities. Many municipalities passed this unanimously. Right next door, our neighbors, Westfield, all Republican council and mayor, they passed the cap bank. So it gets covered a bit differently in Garwood, but that's fine. I'm open to having a debate on these topics, but you know, until the state changes its regulations, it seems like it's appropriate to pass this, and my intention is not to use it. That's all I have to say.
And, sorry, if I may, sorry, I have a cold.
Well, why didn't you tell me that?
Sorry, I apologize. I also, you know, I vote based on the facts that are presented before me, and I try to make an informed decision. And I appreciate, you know, the residents sharing their views, and I weigh that and I take that into consideration. But of course, I also take into consideration what our auditor has informed us, and you know, that's a person who is the expert in this particular field, and I feel that that's, you know, the advice that someone who is giving us, hopefully in the best interest. And of course, obviously, we want to limit tax dollars being spent as much as possible. We want to be as responsible as possible, but also I think it's important that we also listen to the experts that are advising us. So that's kind of how the decision that I'm going to be making. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Aye. Councilwoman Kukrow.
No.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
No.
And Councilperson Disco.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, council standing committee reports and other reports. Police, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The chief had meetings with the Laws and Licensing Committee.
the police committee, Garwood Schools, Garwood Alliance, and he is in the process of scheduling meetings with several more groups, like the Garwood Seniors and the Parking Committee. He will continue to move forward with fresh, innovative ideas to improve services to the residents of Garwood. Also, congratulations to Officer Hertz and Officer Zuena. They have been chosen to represent Garwood at the annual Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD, awards brunch in June. They're being recognized by the organization for their enforcement of drunk driving laws. Also, with the void of 2 dispatchers, we have been working hard to interview the background applicants for the positions. I have put forth, meeting the chief, put forth 1 applicant's name tonight for resolution. It's Elisa DeSimone, comes to us with over 12 years of experience with the Lodi Police Department. We have received nothing but good reports from her former colleagues and expect a smooth transition if appointed. We hope to have a second candidate to recommend by the end of the next council meeting. With the 2 appointments, we will be back up to full strength. That's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on the police report? Hearing none. Public Health, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor. Our next Board of Health meeting is in June. Thank you.
Streets and Roads Ecology, Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Streets and Roads Committee met last week with DPW Superintendent Dixon to discuss a few things. Mr. Dixon was able to provide Councilman Sarno with some information about costs for installing more parking signs, so the parking committee can use that information for any of their decisions. Also, at our previous council meeting, Councilman Sarno once again expressed his interest in looking into privatization. So though at our committee meeting, Councilman Petrozelli and I voiced our opinions against privatization, we do feel that a full professional study would be needed if the council is to entertain the idea, and Councilman Sarno agreed. Mr. Dixon is looking into seeing if he can uncover just how much a study like that would cost. And so when we get that, we will bring it to council to see if that study is something the council would like to undertake. Our superintendent would also like me to remind all residents that recycling should not be contained in any plastic bags of any sort. Waste management will have to stop accepting recyclables if they're in bags. So please let your friends and neighbors know. Thank you.
Any comments on the Streets and Roads report?
Mayor, I have a question. Just to clarify, when you say privatization, you're talking privatization of garbage?
Yes, that's right, sorry.
Okay.
Fire, Councilwoman Sarno.
Thank you, Mayor. In the month of March, there were 18 incidents. In mutual aid activity, Elizabeth, Cranford, Roselle, Linden, Hillside, and Westfield, the largest being Elizabeth with 27 hours. 93 all alarms, meeting with 14 men, 21 hours. We also had 1 drill, pre-planned fire department access on hydrant locations and connections behind commercial properties along South Avenue that required 15 men, 35 hours. Extra duty was also incurred. SCBA's inventory update 3 men, 8 hours. And storm standby and pump out 9 men, 52 hours. And also the fire committee thereby approves the membership application of Daniel Menardis Brown of Westfield. He has passed his physical and background requirements. That's all from my report.
Thank you, Council. Any comments on the fire report? Hearing none. Finance, Council President Tedesco.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Buildings and Grounds, Councilman Lazaro.
Thank you, Mayor. The Buildings and Grounds Committee met last week with Brian Gates of Game Time Playgrounds. He gave us a number of different price proposals for different types of playground equipment and landscaping updates to the space at Hartman Park on 2nd Avenue. The park proposal that he gave us includes a playground space for 2 to 5-year-olds, as well as a playground space for 5 to 12-year-olds, and swings that would accommodate a wide variety of age groups that are safer and abide by ADA codes. Also, we discussed the idea of tearing up half of one of the basketball courts to make a half of the court with hopscotch, foursquare, and other games that would still leave one court intact. With this added space, we discussed the idea of the back of the park being designated for a future community garden, the idea of creating benches and tables in places that are more accessible for parents to watch their children. And finally, we discussed the idea of design elements that would create some shaded space for both parents and children to take refuge during hot, sunny days. In the end, the project Right now, as he's proposing it, of course, he also makes it a little bit higher so that when we go for a grant proposal, that then hopefully we can get a higher amount of money from the county. So then, of course, at the end, we can obviously hope to pare that cost down so that, of course, the burden on taxpayers would be less. So we look forward to applying to the county for a grant when they open the application on May 30th. And hopefully, as soon as I hear from the county as to when they open, I'll let everyone know. I emailed everybody recently with all the proposals that we got from them, so you guys can peruse them and give us your suggestions, ideas. But I think this is something that a lot of residents have expressed a lot of interest in rejuvenating that park. So definitely are interested to see what you guys think about this as we move forward in this process.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments at this time?
I have a comment.
Yes.
What was the total cost on that?
It's about $100,000 for all of that, and that includes some things that we would, because there are choices to pare down the actual price.
I printed everything. Ms. Ariema, when is the athletic field bond going to be done? When will that be paid for?
Lumped together with a larger note. So it's a part of something that could be,
Its own separate note.
its own separate note.
And it's being paid to the state of New Jersey. And I believe it was a 25-year loan or 30.
15?
There's other parts of that though, right? That's included in the larger part of it.
The
Not,
Green Acres grant loan.
that's
part,
separate.
That's separate.
That I
And
know.
There's
There's more to that.
There's other debt. There's
Right,
our
that's
debt.
included with other
Bond. We bonded-
enhanced roads, it's all put together in one.
All right, because, I mean,
There's no I don't remember escrows.
this is a matching grant, so basically. if
Well,
you-
first of all, let me just comment one thing. It's great that Councilman Lazaro got some
Yeah, it was
proposals
really-
and
yeah.
ideas of cost, but and they're definitely necessary to apply for a grant. But once a grant is approved, because we're the government, we can't just go and then work with that guy. It's over the bid threshold, 17.5, so we have to hire like an architect. They have to do a design. We have to, and then in that, then they would include, we want to put this playground, that playground. Then we have to go out for bid, hire a contractor to execute it all, and through the contractor, they would buy the playground equipment. It's almost the same way we did the other complex. We just can't pick a vendor and say, okay, you do this, you do that. It's against local public contracts law.
Yeah, because I saw it today, and I really commend you greatly for getting this whole proposal together. It was really wonderful. But I mean, I feel like to me, that should be the last thing on the agenda. I mean, we're still paying for the athletic field, we're raising taxes, and basically we're gonna be building gym equipment. And, at Hartman Park, I mean, we just have to we can't spend everything, we just can't spend it all.
Well, the Kids Recreation Trust Fund grant is a matching grant, so when it comes out, I'll tell you it comes out, and then we can make application, just like we're doing tonight with the infrastructure grant. You can make application and then see what they give you, and then decide what you're gonna do. You're not bounded by that.
That's the idea here. Of course, we're obviously going to look at the finances, and this gives you an opportunity for us to actually apply for the grant. And if you look at actually other municipalities, tons of other municipalities over the course of the last several years have applied for these park grants and have updated their parks. So, we haven't done that, in the last, I guess, 2 or 3 years. Is that?
Well, we haven't applied, we
Applied
applied for
a-
like 10 years straight, we used all that for the,
Right.
Well, I consider
So the
that,
last
yeah.
2 or 3 years. Or
but we
whatever.
did apply for funding for Hartman Park, and we did upgrades in my career.
Yeah,
for Hartman Park,
we have.
lots of them.
I would have to say that was about 20 years ago,
It
because
was.
I was about 8 years old. So,
All right, well, we have a park at the
and
athletic field.
you've had a long career.
Yeah, it was, I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
we.
Well, I've lived
built,
across from there
we
for
built
quite a
that
long time, but
Basketball court's even flooded, and ice skate on it, but,
at one point, they wanted to put a pool in, the town turned it down. So, I mean, there are things that I would love to have,
Well, I think,
You
it's,
know.
and I'm fine, I'm okay having the debate, I think it's fine, and so I'm not saying, I think, having the ability to have the grant allows us then to have a debate and talk about whether if this is something that we really value or not. As a
But
Well,
county.
I value
the idea
it.
of the cost is good to apply for.
Based
Yes.
value, based on how much the taxpayers are burdened, I get it,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. The grant application doesn't commit you to anything other than trying to get the money. Once you get approval, and I sign the agreement, and you authorize me by resolution, and the mayor sign the agreement, that's when you.
I just want to make sure that I'm not going to be held to
gotten
it.
in bed with them, so.
Okay.
Right now, you're just flirting with them.
Yeah, right.
Any further comment?
Just a short comment. I have been advocating for Garwood with the freeholders when I see them about Hartman Park, specifically because we have not applied for the Kids Rec Trust grant for the past couple of years because we have not wanted to raise taxpayer dollars to match that. And so I feel as though, you know, hey, we sat out a couple of years. Other towns in Union County were able to take advantage of that money on the table. So maybe it'll be our turn next go around. So let's see.
More of a reason for a capital. That's all I got.
Laws and license, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. We had an excellent meeting with Chief Wright concerning our towing, property maintenance, and summons pricing. We are starting to get our ordinances in perspective with surrounding towns. He was extremely well-versed on all issues and truly wants to help us become compliant in all avenues that concern Garwood. As we discussed, there is an immediate need to revise and update our local ordinances to comply with the new property maintenance standards enumerated in the International Property Maintenance Code 2005 edition. He made his recommendations to remediate our local ordinances. We also had a conversation to research the current ordinance, Chapter 160, for the rate schedules, as well as the towing rates for surrounding towns. We also agreed that they should be increased to meet the guidelines of the surrounding communities. We will continue to work closely with Chief Wright so we can move forward on these items, as they have not been updated in quite a while, and they also prevent us from having these very important items finally addressed. No more waiting for years trying to get these items rectified. It costs us money, as well as the proper persons to enforce them for us. That's all for my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on that? Laws and license? Here's none. Recreation, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Commission held their meeting on April 17th, and discussion took place on spring soccer as well as Garwood Summer Rec. Spring soccer has started for pre-K and kindergarten and first graders. It's every Friday. It started on April 21st, and it's being run by the Clark Soccer Club. Also, the Board of Education approved the use of the cafeteria and to allow all of the games that were recently purchased to be placed in the cafeteria for the children to use. The school is charging Recreation $250 for the cleaning services for summer rec. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on that Recreation report? Hearing none. Garwood Senior Citizen Liaison, Councilman Blumenstock.
Thank you, Mayor. At our last meeting on April 20th, though we did not have any speakers, the group did partake in a lengthy discussion about the redevelopment project and the recent fair share resolution passed by council. I answered many questions about what affordable housing is, what the passing of the resolution means for Garwood, and updated them on the Casal Petro plan. As it's hard for some of our seniors to make it to our council meetings, I was glad to have the opportunity to keep them up to date and hear their thoughts on the matter. We also celebrated birthdays and, of course, played some bingo. Our next meeting is May 4th. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council. Any comments on the senior report? Mayor's Library Representative, Councilman Lazaro.
Thank you, Mayor. April 9th through April 14th was National Library Week. As a gift to the community, the library waived over $400 in fines on overdue items returned that week. Kids received small prizes when they checked out books. Adults could enter a raffle to win a gift certificate to Rudy's. On Friday, May 12th, the library will hold its annual 4th grade Girl Scout troop sleepover. The girl and leaders will participate in games, eat pizza, watch a movie, and hopefully fall asleep at the library. This year, the girls will also create a display for the library showcase. Some of the ongoing programs include the Knitting Club every Monday and Thursday at 10:30, book clubs Monday afternoon and Thursday evening, bilingual knitting class every Tuesday at noon, Kids Craft Tuesday, May 9th at 3 p.m., Adult Craft Tuesday, May 9th at 6 p.m., Story Time every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m., Adult Chess Club every Wednesday at 7 p.m., Lego Club Thursday, April 27th and May 11th at 3 p.m., Movie Time every Friday at 10 a.m., and just a reminder, the Garwood Library is open Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on the Library Representative report? Hearing none. School Board Liaison, Councilman Sarno.
Thank you, Mayor. Two things of note. One, I reached out to the Board of Ed, and I wrote a general inquiry, and for those that weren't at the planning board meeting, school board president, Christine Guerriero, came up and said, we'd like to be a part of the conversations in terms of a pilot agreement, in terms of what the tax impact is going to be from the new development and what kind of funds we're going to receive. So I offered to sit down and have a meeting with the members of the Board of Ed to really discuss what points we want to hit, or really get more involved in the process. I'd like to do that, and I'm looking right at Tracy. Furthermore, the second thing, EFG dinner is Thursday at 6 o'clock at the Westwood. And that's all.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on this?
Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll just put my Education Foundation hat on for a minute. I'm just very proud to announce, as some of you in here I'm sure know, the Educator of the Year was Sue Naples, Garwood resident. Also, the People Making a Difference Award winners this year, we're very proud of. They're members of our fire department, longtime members dating back to the 1970s. Our current chief, Len Spina. Also, his wife is an honoree for her service to the Board of Education. And also our fire official, Bill Toth, and his wife, Joan Toth, will be the honorees Thursday night. So I want to just thank them for all their service to the borough on both organizations. And I'm curious about the planning board meeting Monday. Obviously, I wasn't there. Did the Board of Education president speak for herself that evening, or did she speak on behalf of the Board of Education?
On behalf.
So does that mean the Board of Education discussed this at one of their public meetings?
Can't answer that.
Okay, because...
I'm just going by what was said, and it piqued my interest in being a school board liaison.
Right.
I'd like to sit down with them.
Right, and I definitely appreciate you bringing that forward, but it just kind of piqued my curiosity, because I know Dr. Quigley, the superintendent, spoke about the potential redevelopment and the impact on the schools last fall. And then now to hear the Board of Education president, and I fully support helping the school in any way possible, especially when it comes time to negotiating pilots. I know that although typically the municipality and the county get the money on that, 95% and 5% to the county, many towns, I was recently reading, Jersey City and Bayonne had set aside a certain percentage of those pilots to go to the schools. They were at 5 or 10%. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking, it should be more, but that's, I don't mean to make these comments in any way to say that I'm closed-minded about bringing the Board of Education in or anything of that matter. I'm happy we're investigating that. I want to be partners with the Board of Education on this. It's obviously so important for our town that we work hand in hand, but I just want to really get to the bottom of, is it being said for the entire Board of Education or just the board president? Because obviously, as council people, if one person goes and says, I'm saying this on behalf of the council, we'd all really have to speak about that first.
Right.
So.
The one thing I offered to do.
Okay, and just be careful, don't get ahead of ourselves talking about a pilot. I know it's coming.
It's coming.
Okay.
Well, I was at the meeting, and, she sounded like she was speaking for the whole Board of Ed. She sounded a little bit surprised at that, and I know she changed her stance from last year. So now
She who changed her stance?
Christine.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you. Celebrations Committee of Public Events and Holidays Liaison, Council President Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a short report tonight. I just want to remind everyone to mark their calendars for the annual Memorial Day event, which will take place on Memorial Day at noon at the Columbian Club. And after a short remembrance ceremony, hot dogs, chips, and soda will be served. So we hope to see you there. And that's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on the report? Hearing none, Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative, Councilwoman Balonstown.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrative Review Committee, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report this time, Mayor, thank
Thank you. Historical Committee, Council President Tedesco.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Parking Committee, Councilman Sarno.
No report, we'll be meeting shortly.
Thank you, Seps. Ms. Ariemo, officers' reports.
Police Chief Jim Wright, monthly report for March 2017, and Municipal Court Administrator LaShawn Grant, monthly report for March 2017.
Do I have a motion to accept the officers' reports?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to public comment. Is anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone. Please state your full name and address, and limit your comments to about 3 minutes.
McCormick, 101 Fourth Avenue, Broward. If I could step back, I thought the comment from public before was on what Bruce was talking about, but it turned out to be a bash of council people against council people. So what I'd like to say is I know for over the last year and a half, what Mr. Sarno was talking about, the reevaluation, was talked about constantly at this council. I've heard it. I don't like the way one council person or two went against the other. It wasn't really good for the public. It's not what us taxpayer or voted you people in for. It sounds like, from my end, because you people always said what your end is, so from my end, it sounds like there's a party issue here. Sounds like you're not getting together to think about what's best for Garwood. And again, as you said, this is my opinion. So I just wanted to get that out there. I'm sorry if I offended any of you, but that's my comment. So thanks for my time, for listening to me.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Patterson?
Good evening, Mayor Leonardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Couple items, just a quick question, possibly Borough Attorney or I could answer it. Do we have to have a pilot at the redevelopment project?
You're talking about legally, practically?
Is there alternatives?
Well, legally, if you have a redevelopment area, there is not a requirement that there be a payment for the taxes.
That's it. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you, two great initiatives, again, are brought up. One is the matching grants, the Kids Recreation Trust that we had to turn away twice. And I, we've talked about this, or I've talked about it, and more or less I've heard an agreement. But we have to get the county.
Can I go back to the question you asked, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
okay,
part of the agreement and the affordable housing agreement is that if we're talking about the particular Russo project, that's part of the affordable housing agreement, is that there will be a pilot.
Well, that brings up actually more questions, but I won't bring them up. Okay, jumping forward about the county and matching grants. I mean, Councilwoman Tedesco said 75-25, but still that means we're raising taxes. The playground equipment, I'm not sure whether we need it or not, but if we do need it, I mean, it would just be great to get a 100% grant, non-matching from the county. I mean, somehow this initiative's got to be done by all the towns getting together, because these matching grants just mean they, they're giving us our money back, and then we're raising taxes to get our money back. So it's just not right, and somehow the towns got to get together. I've been talking about this for years now. And in addition, the other initiative, of course, is the reassessment, which actually, talking to Mayor Wright from Winfield, reassessment and reevaluation is not exactly the same, but for some reason it's interchangeable. Reassessment, I've been doing my little traveling presentation. I've gone to 7 towns now, and it's favorable, and not to talk about each town, but one town in Providence actually said, what happened to the League of Municipalities? What happened to that? Still around. It's still around? Maybe Mayor Morgan is invited to him. But he says that would be a good focus group to actually try to get things going with the reassessment. But first you'd have to, I guess, revitalize the League of Municipalities. But it's a mayoral thing that really all the councils and mayors should be on board about this reassessment. Everybody's concerned about it because of the cost. And they're saying we have to plan ahead. Well, here's the first step, is at least to go down to the county and see what we can get from the county, all the towns, not just Garwood, all the towns. And whether it's like 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line, at least have some kind of monies encumbered from the county. And I've talked to you about the surplus, that the end of the year surplus was like $66 million, and now they're sitting on like $43 million. I mean, it's just an astronomical amount of money. I've asked them last meeting, what exactly you're doing with the surplus? No answer. But they don't answer me half the time because I guess it's too hard to answer, I guess. There is a, oh, by the way, actually, this Thursday is a freeholder budget meeting, similar to this. I doubt if they'll be back and forth because they're all one party, but anyway, you know, I'll be there and I'll be asking questions, and whether they answer me is something else. But, another issue, well, actually another question. I remember one of your initiatives for the finance committee was you were going to have the department heads come up with suggestions, 2 suggestions each. How'd that come about? Did it come out okay? I remember I asked you for a status update, and you said some of the items were that's great. You know, now the budget's over.
Right. Let's just say it was mixed, and we'll keep it under review and keep communication going, so hopefully we can build on that together.
Did you embrace any of the suggestions, or you just taking it under consideration moving forward?
Some were made, some weren't. Basically, some are for down the road, so we'll keep looking at it. But
I think I suggested if the department head didn't give you suggestions, you cut their budget 5%. That's all.
right. Well, that didn't happen. We'll just there was no direct correlation between whether they gave them and the budget. We had discussions line by line on their budgets with them, though.
All right. Put a little record. And don't forget the historical committee next year. It's a line. $100 maybe. I don't know. Just something. Another interesting factoid is Famwood, but they have private garbage pickup. But they are actually allowing their residents to choose whether it's a 1 pickup a week or 2 pickups a week, which is interesting, because that'll be savings. I think they spend like $90 a month or something sort of trash, which is about $1,000 a year. But maybe you could introduce that here with the DPW and each household selecting 1 pickup or 2 pickups. And if you select 1 pickup, okay, that's in the budget. 2 pickups, maybe there's a little extra money they may have to pay. That might be a revenue enhancer for those that generate a lot of garbage and don't recycle too much. So maybe that'll actually push recycling along pretty well in our town. Where's Bill? Bill's not here.
Is that your last point?
Yeah, that's my last point. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Al Del Conte, 545 Locust Avenue. Back to the utility work that's going on the resurfacing. Does anybody watch them to see what they're doing, or they just have free reign? Because when they were on the street, it was just them, yesterday morning when they were there. This happened to be the gas company doing it. Nobody from the gas company was there watching them, and nobody from the borough was there watching them.
There was no police officer?
I mean, watching their work. I'm not talking about directing traffic. Seeing what they're doing. Somebody taking load tickets to make sure the quantity of material that they're putting down is right. The kind of material they're putting down, does it meet our specifications?
It wasn't our spec. We didn't hire them. It had to be the specifications that they wrote. If they're not watching their own contractors,
They dictate what goes down on our roads?
well, I'm sure there's a standard, like for asphalt and stuff, you know, that you have to serve the mix. I mean, I know there is for us, so I would imagine there is for them,
Because, I mean, I was standing there watching the guy, and the street sweeper came down, cleaned the street, and then the tack truck came down, put the tar down, and then I watched a guy come down with a blower and clean it. We have a curb and gutter on the street, so there was all debris in the curb and gutter, and he's walking down with a blower, blowing all the junk from the curb and gutter back out onto the street again. Well, I mean,
I can ask, you know, what's their process, you know, who's in charge, and then foreman, you know.
and nobody was watching. I mean, I've done that work a few years. Cousins in the paving business, so I know a little bit about how that work is done. And, you know, those procedures are not standard. You know, somebody's usually watching them, you know. And communications, I mean, Monday happened to be a day for the garbage to be picked up on the south side of town. And I've learned from the past to get it out there early, because the DPW usually gets down there before the construction crew gets down to pick it up and get it out of there. And they weren't there, and then all of a sudden, at the last minute, here they come. 2 trucks in force, one to cover the 500 block and one to cover the 400 block of Locust Avenue. I mean, I thank them for doing that. Last minute, I think the policeman on duty made a phone call to somebody, to DPW, to get them down there. And I know in the past that it's been a problem with the utility companies communicating with departments around town. If they could, now the water company's coming back, don't know when, but if we could, you know, keep in touch with them also, and letting the residents know. Because they didn't let the residents know that they were coming until the night before. You know, we had about 11 hours, which, I mean, it's fine, just move cars, but still, you don't know that they're coming. You know, 11-hour notice is a bit, you know, early. And rumor has it on your shared service, is there talk about our building department being moved, inspectors, to another town? Moving it out of Cranford to another town, our inspectors? Or is that just somebody trying to stir a pot?
I don't know.
You know?
Heard that.
Okay, building department, building inspectors are still going to be coming out of Cranford.
We have a contract with them, 4-year contract. I think for a year or 2 maybe.
And back to the utilities again, with them coming in and milling, they're really only required, that I know of, maybe Tina can help me out with this, Don, I wish Don was here because he would have the answers, to repair basically only what they fix, repair only what they damage. So to do half of the road is way more than the damage that they've done.
I'm not sure about that, but that's what Councilman Sarno suggested, that we pass our own ordinance that says that they have to do the whole road. We don't have that right now. So I guess they can dictate what they're gonna.
Because I would think you're going to chase them away. Because especially on the 400 and 500 block over the past 3 years, there has been a big problem with the gas main. It's was low pressure with water infiltrating it and getting in the main. I mean, I know myself several years ago, my gas meter was full of water and froze in the wintertime, and I had no gas. So this repair was something that I used to harass them about.
You know, I would think that, you know, if those kinds of situations, regardless of our ordinance, if we do the whole street, they're gonna have to, they can't just collect it because they're, you know, fix the whole street. In fact, I believe probably our neighboring towns already have that, fix the whole street.
Where they do the whole road.
I would think that they do. We just need to get on.
I mean, that would be nice if you can. I mean, that would, you know.
Holly Street.
For me, I think it would come down to the amount of work being done on the road. If they're coming out to do an emergency repair on something, you can't expect them to pave the whole road because they made a 3x5 trench in front of your house. And I think we have to go about that a little bit.
No, I don't think that's what the intent is, though. I think it's when they, you know, I mean, they did work on my street, Hazel. So they did, it was a couple of years ago now, but they did new water things in front of almost every house. So they ripped the street, even though it was just, you know, not ripping up the whole street.
Right, but that's what I mean by the extent of the work. If
Yeah.
they're coming out to make a repair on one house, I'm not going to pave the whole street. So that's my point, is that you have to see what exactly they're going to be doing. And yes, I mean, I do remember Don saying that we're actually getting a bargain out of what they're doing. If they only have to make a 3-foot trough, they should only have to repave that 3 feet. By then, paving half of the street is actually kind of helping us out.
Well, Councilman, when you do your investigation, perhaps it would be something that you could put in standards of how they have to repair these individual holes, as well as, you know, you can get, you know, how we want them done, how we want these roads fixed. We want to cut up, you know, we want it squared out.
Yeah, well, I know some towns, you can't do any repair work to the road if that's been done recently.
Yeah, we have that.
We have
Right,
that.
we have that. But what I'm saying is you could dictate in your ordinance that if you open up just a square, then you can dictate in there how you want the road built back. In other words, they have to square it off and put certain fill in,
Well, because it makes our roads look awful, so even the ones that have been freshly done, if they start, it's just.
They sink, but you
I'd like to
dictate
have
that,
street
you know?
stuff, I mean, I'm thinking about that.
The other thing is that we take a paper bond from them, because we can change that, and they can have to give us cash bonds, and if they don't fix it right, we can, we do
Take
have
a
bonds.
paper
on
bond?
them. They have the bond, they can't just, everybody who opens our street has to give us money in case they don't put it back right.
But it's paper.
It's a paper bond, you have to pursue it, you can.
Oh, no, I
but,
want real money. We pass an ordinance for that too?
I'm not sure, that would be a question for Mr. Renaud.
Mr. Renaud?
Can you require a cash bond?
It's
I don't
big
know.
money, it's
I
not.
hate to be the voice of reality in all of this, but I think, I think there are some issues with respect to some of the things that have been suggested, if you want. My suggestion is we come up with some ordinances, before you introduce them, make sure they're sent to the utility companies, have them send in their comments. If they think they're unlawful, I'm sure they'll tell you, and then you can take that into consideration.
Okay.
That's all good, to pass an ordinance and try to tell them what to do, but if nobody's standing there watching them, they're gonna do what they wanna do. Because if you go back over these repairs that they do them so quickly that within a year, they've settled again, and then it's left to our DPW to go back and fix it. Because nobody goes back and makes them come back and fix them again. It happens to be,
That's something you can add in. Maybe you can add in the
Yeah,
ordinance.
because we called somebody up there, somebody's front apron was like, it was starting to sink, and they came back.
that's on an individual, and I do the same thing, because I watch it and I come here and I complain about it. But come for a walk, I can just walk on the 400 to 500 block of Locust Avenue, and I'll show you the work that they've done. And it's all settled, and it's horrible. Sidewalks, curbs, curb and gutter, and the blacktop work. And our DPW gets stuck going back and fixing it.
Well, like I said, I believe there should be cash bonds. I've dealt with new construction a lot, and they take cash bonds, so you're not getting away with anything.
Yeah, but if nobody's going back
But
and
who's going, Mr.
supervising,
Del Conte, who's going to watch them? You?
that's for you to decide who's supposed to go back and watch them, not me. Okay, I watch them in front of my house, and it's horrible. Okay?
Well, then maybe we're getting the wrong people to do the jobs.
It's what they do.
Okay, all right, well.
We have a contract.
No, we don't have a
No,
contract.
he
It's in the
suggested
utility.
that we like, your
We don't have a
person suggested
contract.
that
We
we
did
have
not
like
hire
an
them.
engineer be out there to watch.
Don't work with the wrong side.
Somebody go back in 6 months, somebody go back in a year and check these, because they're supposed to get permits to cut the road open. Okay, so now you have a list, go back and look at it, and see if it's settled. If it's settled, they need a phone call to come back and fix it. The problem is that never gets done.
Okay. Is there anything else? Mr. Del Conte?
Well, my time is up.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on. Unfinished business, consent agenda. Okay, do you have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Aye. Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
And Council President Fisco.
Aye.
I do have one resolution.
Okay.
Not on the agenda, I'll read it.
Please.
Resolution 17101, be resolved by the Council of the Borough of Garland, the County of Union, State of New Jersey, that the municipal be and hereby authorized to submit 2017 infrastructure and municipal aid grant with the County of Union for a grant amount of $212,500 for the milling and resurfacing of Center Street between Locust Avenue and the dead end at Unanimous Park.
Do you have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I was waiting for a roll call, so.
New business
Roll
for the
call.
council this
Roll
evening?
call on that resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call, please, Mariam.
Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Aye.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
And Council President Tedisco.
Aye.
Thank you. Any new business?
I guess this might fall underneath new business. With the display that we just had before between former Councilman Martin and former Councilman Matthew, is there some way to get both parties out of the room when something like that happens? Because we really don't need heckling from the audience to try to heckle someone who's trying to speak. I mean, it was kind of upsetting, and just going forward, if it ever happens again, I think that both parties should be asked to leave the building.
Point well taken. Thank you. Proclamation, Preeclampsia Awareness Month, May 2017. Ms. Ariema, payment of claims.
Be it resolved that the following claims as approved be and the statement of payroll order paid and properly signed and verified, and the statement of payroll as listed is hereby confirmed and ratified.
Do you have a motion to adopt payment of claims?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Ms. Ariema, roll call.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Aye. Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petroselli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
And Council President Disco.
Aye.
Ms.
Yes,
Ariema,
executive session now. I have a
Ms.
resolution.
Ariema, read the resolution for executive
Yes,
session.
we
Thank
do.
you.
On Resolution 17102, closed session resolution authorizing executive session for the purpose of discussing one, personnel matter for Teamsters member grievance number B36165. Item 2, potential litigation concerning employee over request. Item number 3, redevelopment of South Avenue project. Item number 4, water infiltration at the Michael R. Kincoli Recreation Building at the Garland Sports and Recreation Complex and matters of attorney-client privilege. Relating to the above and in accordance with NJSA 40, closed session meetings open to the public, exclusion of public subject matter. Where it is necessary for the mayor and council of the Borough of Garden to conduct an executive session open to the public in order to discuss the above listed matters. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the Borough of Garden hereby moves to go into executive session in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act for the purpose of discussing the subject stated above, and be further resolved the matter discussed in the minutes of the closed session shall be disclosed to the public and the reason for confidentiality no longer exists.
May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
No action will be taken. Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Aye.
Councilman Lazaro. Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petroselli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Council President Disco.
What happens if we say no to that?
Well, you can stay out of the room.
I can stay.
Mayor, can we take a 5 minutes?
Okay. How we assemble in the back?
Anybody going directly to the back?